Hello and welcome to the next chapter in Address Book. This is going to be printing labels. Let's just get started and I'll explain a couple limitations it has and a possible workaround. Let's open it up. Now I could print one label at a time. I would just select it and print it. Usually when you're printing labels, you're printing a bunch. If you're just printing one, you would probably print on an envelope, maybe. So let's assume I've broken down a group with these labels here that I want to have printed. Now if there wasn't an address, I could still print the whole group, but it would exclude anything that doesn't have an address, which is pretty cool. It won't print just the first and last name and the rest blank. It won't print it at all, which is very nice. These ones all do have addresses, so that's pretty easy. I'm just selecting the group in the left hand column, going under File, and hitting Print. And it tells me there's 6 addresses. But right now it's in envelopes. Let's put it back up because this might be how it is when you first launch it. If there's no big menu down below here, you need to hit this arrow so it's facing the other direction, and this will give you a huge drop down selection. Now by default I think the style is envelopes, so we need to change that for mailing labels. We did envelopes on the last class, so that's already covered. This is just the labels. So it's asking me the labels. You want to print their home, you want to print their work, you want to print all of them. That's where when I mentioned how you can change the default to be one or the other, or how you change it. That's why, again, is that you want to make sure they're all in the same. That way you know where you're printing. Print in postal code order or alphabetical order. That's just a preference. Company, if you have a company name, it will put it in there. Just like doing the envelopes, that's all the same. Now where it's different is in the layout. It's going to ask you what type of paper you're using. Everything really is based on an Avery standard. Avery makes labels, and they're with different numbers. Like their 5161 is 10 rows of 2 columns each. If you hit their 5160, it's 10 rows of 3 columns each for 30 labels. So that's what that is. Even if you buy labels that aren't labeled Avery, they all often have a compatibility. Say this is Avery label 5160 compatible, just so you know which one to select. And as you can see, there are a ton of them. You would just choose whichever one that's on the box. Then after that it'll print. Now the drawback to using Address Book to print labels is if I printed these 6, then the next time I printed, I can't say to continue at label number 7. There's no spot like that to do, which is kind of frustrating. So you can turn the paper around and print on the other side, so you use 7 on one top left, then turn it, then do 7 on the top left from the other one if you wanted to. So you'd use 14 labels, but as you can see, you would lose some. Now there's no workaround per se, but if you find yourself doing a lot of label printing, they actually have an option here to do Dymo, and they make a label printer. It just has a roll of labels, and it essentially just prints one at a time. You can see how it looks here, and it would just, if you had 30 people selected, it would just print 30 labels on a roll right after another. So it is a great thing. I've seen people use them, and I'm pretty impressed on how that works. But that's really about it for printing labels. It's not the best, but if you find yourself just once or twice a year you need to print 20 or 30 labels, it's perfect. So thank you very much.